we live? We're live. What's up, Jennifer Lacey?
Good morning, Jesse. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I got an alert that you broke LinkedIn. What'd you do?
I didn't regulate. LinkedIn decided to do something janky, and it really impacted the things that I'm responsible for. So I'm not very happy this morning. So normally they have this audio option that we use for our after party. And I go and I create it, and then you share all the links, and we get to talk after the show. And they eliminated the LinkedIn audio, which was, I mean, like we have a plan, we have a process, everything's good, rolling, and then there's a roadblock in the freaking process, and I'm like, well, damn it. So we had to do a little maneuvering and change the options and stuff like that. So the after party today is going to be a little different. Still looks the same, but it is now a Teams meeting instead of just the LinkedIn audio through LinkedIn. Video is still optional. We're not asking you to turn on your videos. You don't have to, but it should still link, and it looks the same, but when you click on it, it should bring you into a Teams meeting. So we're going to try it. We'll see. We don't know if it's going to work. We haven't done it before, but that is what our plan is for today.
We shall see. Okay, so we're still going to give it the old college try to do the after party.
Yes.
The event's been created, so I'll do the sharing at the end.
Yep.
But it's not on LinkedIn audio anymore because that service is gone.
Yes.
Boo. Yeah. So hell yeah, I like it.
Try and see. We just jumped in. We'll see what happens. we may crash and burn.
Yep. Or like Mr. Seth Harrison says,
yes. we talked about that. Just I don't know if you got to see it yet. So Seth and Thomas yesterday dropped. I think I don't know what episode it is, but they dropped their podcast yesterday, which I got to be on, which was super awesome. And in the in it, we get to talk about it. Like we've had some conversations around squirrel suits and different, like when you jump and parachuting and all that stuff. And so it's very appropriate on just how many times it took for them to figure out the right squirrel suit. So when you jump, you don't die. And there were 13 tries, and the first 12 didn't make it. Like, dang.
I'm gonna have to listen to that just because you said squirrel. Hey,
I did say squirrel a lot in that one. What, Kirby? Good morning.
But she's already blamed. Y'all already.
You're probably right. He probably did something to make it all. You're absolutely right.
Oh my goodness, the discrimination.
Yes.
No, I didn't do it on purpose, Kirby. It's a LinkedIn thing. Amy, what's up, Amy?
Good morning, Amy.
Amy has signed up for the Do the Damn Thing time management.
Oh, nice. I'm going to be there too, so I can get some tips and tricks. Yes.
Oh man, they're filling up. Like the Saturday class, I think there's 5 spots left. The Monday class, there's 3 spots left.
Ooh, I think that's what I think I'm doing the 23rd. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm excited.
It's going to be really good.
Yeah, look at that. Miss Sarah says we are flexible.
Yeah, we are flexible. It may not be great, but we are flexible.
We'll figure it out. So today we are talking, or maybe reflecting on the lessons of 2024.
Yes.
And so, folks, what does that mean? That means we want to hear, we want to learn and grow together.
We need to hear from you.
Oh, show. But before we do that, let's do some housekeeping.
Okay, sounds good.
What's the Blue Heart thing, Jen?
Okay, so the Blue Heart is that Jesse and I. Jesse, can you believe next month we will have been doing this 3 years? And they haven't kicked us off LinkedIn yet.
And that's not counting the love letter.
The love letters were like the first, 3 or 4 months. And then we didn't decide. The tribe decided that we needed something else. And so then we created our platform. So that like in January is going to be 3 years that we've been doing this, which is like blows my mind. So anyway, sorry, squirrel. And so we have had a lot of amazing people, and our tribe has grown, and we've realized the value of community. and the value of being able to connect to other people. And so we know there are people that come in and they listen and they don't do anything. They don't type, they don't, they don't comment, they just listen. And that's okay. We're fine with that. We also know that every time we do a live stream, because of the way it feeds in LinkedIn, different people will like pop in and they'll like, oh, what is this? What's going on? So our ask is that if this is your first time listening and you're hearing us, or it's your first time where you're like, I'm going to get a little brave and I'm going to get in there in the chat and I'm going to start making some comments, that you add a blue heart to your comment, because that will allow us and our entire tribe to know that you are new. And what that does is it signals people to connect with you and follow your content and start engaging with you. And we have just seen the ripples of what that can create. And so that is our ask. And if you do not know how to find the blue heart, you right click and go to emojis, or you just type blue heart, and we're fine with that too.
Yes. Well, one, like Sarah says, 3 years, woo, woo, like that's freaking awesome. And I think I just want to like hit it again, the idea of the community, because it for me it feels like a community. We support each other. Different people have taken big steps in their professional career, personal career, side hustle career, like all kinds of things. And so being able to like be a witness of all of that it's a treasure. It's a treat that I treasure. And so blue hearts, lurkers, we love you. Let us know you're there. If not, keep lurking. I love that too. And we have the randomizer.
We do. You're going to tell me about the randomizer?
Yeah. I'm going to talk about that real quick.
Okay.
So Amy won the randomizer on the last call, and she's already accepted the invite. So when you comment or drop emojis or whatever in the chat, that's going to put you into a, the randomizer. Mm-hmm. And at the top of the hour, we'll do the thing. And when your name gets picked, you will be automatically put into the December sessions of Emotional Bungee Jumpers and the Cultivation Crew.
Yes.
And if you want any insight on that, Mr. Jim Cantorius can tell you all about it coming in. Yeah. And Jim's like the ultimate lurker, because not only has he been a part of the OBS live streams, he was also a major contributor on the Lean in Love stuff.
Yes, right? He's in the book.
He is in the book.
He's got a quote in the book for sure.
Yep. So anyhow, comments, lurkers, we love you. Leave your comments, ask your questions. Of course, Jen and I are going to be up here talking a lot, but it's really you guys that shape the direction of the conversation, which is always fun for me. And so we got Mr. Pete Zipatella coming in. Been a while. How you doing, my man? Came out on Dragon's Den, which is like Shark Tank in Canada.
Yeah. How'd it go?
I think it went awesome.
That's amazing.
It's like I don't know why I can't see it. I don't know if it's a US Canada tariff thing. Who freaking knows? But anyways, then we got Miss.
I know her. Hello, Francis. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
You know Francis?
I do know Francis.
Nice, Francis. Thanks for coming. Hoping to learn from you, with you, all of the above. And then my buddy Daryl, who also signed up for the Do the Damn Thing time management workshop. He's coming in from Canada, which that's a different kind of cold, girl. Like, man, Daryl, thanks for being here, man. Hope you have a Snuggie or something. All right. So we have, we picked a softball, simple topic. It's not going to challenge anybody. Reflecting on the lessons of 2024.
Yeah, I'm calling BS right now, but go ahead. They're called BS. That's BS. But we'll see how the conversations go.
Yeah. So why did you make me pick that topic, Jen?
Well, first of all, I don't make you do anything. But you and I talk a lot. We talk a lot just because of the stuff we do where everyone gets to see us. But we also, again, you mentor me. I think I mentor you sometimes, but we have a lot of conversations around the things that are going on in our life, our growth, our evolution, our fails, our struggles, and things, just things that we're really good at holding a mirror to each other.
Yes, actually, that's a great, yeah.
And just sometimes the things that you see, and I may even kind of see, but I don't really want to look at it. You're really good at no, look right here. And so with those conversations, as we were wrapping up the year, we're having some pretty heavy talks about some things that either some big awakenings or some things that we've discovered or kind of what's on the list coming up for 2025 and where we're focusing. And so I think that that kind of led into, well, let's just talk about this online where everyone can see.
Yeah, and look who else is going to see.
Good morning, Jared.
Winner.
Yes.
National champion, Jared. What's going on, man? Yeah, so, and it worked out like perfectly, right? Because it's the end of the year where I think the majority of people start thinking about like their goals for next year. Obviously, if you're operating a business, you've probably already done your strategies for 2025 and et cetera. But personally, a lot of times we forget about it, right? Or we kind of tiptoe and dance around, I'm going to make a New Year's resolution. And I'm not a New Year's resolution guy. I'm not against it, but the world revolves around me. So when I do my planning and goals and et cetera, it's on my birthday, which is this week on the 11th. And so I'm in like all the thinking and chewing and consideration and whatever that's happened. Now it's like, okay, here are my options. What am I going to decide to commit to for next year? And so then it's like, well, why don't we have this conversation with the tribe with awesome folks like the uncommon communicator, James Gable, coming in from sunny Colorado. What's up, Mr. James? And so we had some questions, right?
Yes.
And so Kirby told me that I needed to ask you this question first, so that you would answer it first. And this question,
that is a lie. I have no doubt that's a lie. Kirby's your friend, but she's got my back.
So this one's not just for Jen, y'all. This is for all the tribe members out there in the Omniverse. Like, take a second and think and let us know, what is a lesson you learned this year that you will use to launch an awesome 2025? And Jen, I know you have a bunch that you said you wanted to share first. So come on, girl. What you have?
I don't have a bunch. I have really one big one, and I think that'll start the conversation. So, we talked a while ago about probably some things that we, what would you do if you couldn't fail? That was the challenge that you gave me 2 years ago. What would you do if you couldn't fail? And, a lot of people are like, I'd go, skydiving, or I'd go, I'd start a business. I'd do some things like that. Mine was very internal. When you asked me that question, the answer was, I would let go of control. And that's a big answer. And for me, it's because I thrive on having control of situations so that I can know what's next. And whenever it's unpredictable, or it's something that I'm not able to kind of see the path, then I get frustrated and I get flustered and I get mad. And so it just is what it is. So, I thrive on control because then it allows me to take that next step. And I know what it is. It's super clear. And, but I also realize that because of the grasp I have on control, the people around me aren't always happy.
Ooh.
And so, and so I knew that. So if I could let go of control and know that it was going to be okay, and know that things were not going to fall apart and the world was going to go to crap, then I would let go of control, but I didn't have that reassurance. And so then once we voice that and we communicate it, then it's like, okay, what steps are you taking to get there? And I'm like, oh crap. So for the last year, intentionally, and you can speak for this because you've been a witness to all of it. For the last year, I have made super intentional efforts, small steps, to let go of control in places that I had to have 100% control. And no questions asked, no variance, no flexibility. Like, I have to have control of this. And I have slowly let go of control in those situations, and the world is still spinning and I am still okay. and wonderful, amazing conversations and just relationships, and even me just feeling okay happened from those decisions. And so for me, the big lesson for me was, I gotta say this out loud. When I made the intentional efforts to allow myself to let go of control, it opened up space for growth.
Okay, I'm gonna let the temperature drop a little bit.
Yes.
I want to shout out Miss Megan.
Okay. Good morning, Megan.
Create some evidence, because the do the damn thing time management workshop is all her fault. She and I had a call, and she's like, "Oh no." Yeah, I said, "Well, whatever." And it turned into like, "Okay, I'm gonna do a workshop." So Megan, thank you for that. She's gonna be there. Good morning, sister. Oh man, we got some comments coming in, okay, but we're gonna wait on those because I want to follow up.
Okay.
And this is to help the tribe, right? To help the folks out there in the Omniverse. You say give up control, which sounds like this really big. Oh! How did you start doing? Because there were some very specific things that you did helped you loosen the grips more and more. Like you didn't just pull a Jesse, right? Like
okay, so little steps. Well, and just a little bit of background. Like grew up single parent, 4 kids, worked 3 jobs. Like money is like a huge thing for me. Like being able to make sure I have money, make sure I'm not in a place where I'm going to be hurting for money, or there's a gap somewhere. Like having control of money has always been a big thing for me because of growing up without it. And so coming in and being a parent, then you have kids that, they want everything all the time. And I was making sure that I was making good decisions with money. And I mean, because that's my job. But to the point to where it would just ruin experiences. It would just make things not be fun because I needed to make sure that we were being smart and we were being practical and we were doing things the right way. And they didn't suffer, but I realized that there were things that I was imposing on these situations, and it was just making everybody miserable.
Yeah.
And once I somebody held the mirror up and said, "Remember, do you see this?" So the first step, which was everyone's going to go, why is that even a big deal? It was so we went. I took my girls, maybe one of my girls and one of their friends, to the water park, like for the summer. So they went to the water park to go do all the stuff, and then it was time to go get food. And we got up to there. They wanted to order, and I mean, I'm telling you, in my mind, it's like 1 nachos, y'all can share it. I'll get a drink. We'll get an extra cup. Like that's my brain. That's just how it works. And I was just like, they were like, "What do you want?" "Nachos." "Okay, well, get the nachos." And then, "Well, she wants one too." "Get the nachos." And my brain is screaming. And then they're like, "Well, can we get an icy?" "Yep, you can both get ices." And so, I mean, it's like $28, which is not a big deal. But in my brain, it is. And so they got the nachos. They came, we sat down, and then they were done. And I'm looking at it, and they didn't even finish them. These are like $13 nachos or whatever. It was like these. I mean, like they're massive nachos. And they drank half their drinks. And I know my daughter because she knows me, and so she's like sitting there, and I can tell she's just like ready to go, but there's still freaking nachos there. And then she's like, Mom, we're done." I'm like, "Okay." She's like, "What do you want me to do?" I'm like, "Well, if you're done, throw them away." And she's just looking at me like, "Is that okay? Is that okay?" And I'm like, "Are you going to be mad?" And I'm like, "No, just throw them away." And she threw them away, and then they went and swam, and they had the best time. And I called Jesse, and I was just losing it. And I was just like, Jesse, they have no idea what was going on in my head, but they had the best experience. And so that's where, when you ever hear Jesse say, "Just buy the damn nachos," it's just like, just do it. Just make that decision. Get it. I mean, because like I'm overcomplicating something that is just the way my brain is wired. So that was a long explanation, but it was like the first thing that I did.
Yeah. I too, right. I'm pretty damn frugal. So I have I appreciate, like, man, you're throwing $6.50 for nachos. You're throwing away half of them. Like, come on. But the change in perspective, it's like, okay, I could not pay that extra $6.50 and have that friction and argument and disappointment and all that and kind of diminish the experience. Or I could think of it as I'm going to pay another $6.50 to have a memorable, awesome experience with my family.
Yeah.
Like $6.50 for that, that's a deal.
Yeah.
And so, and I know we had a lot of, anyways. So folks, the reason, thank you for like sharing that, but the reason I wanted that to come out is it started this big, I want to release control. But you had to start, you needed to have like a test ground, a space to do an experiment on. And like Mr. Pete says, to let go, you have to build trust. And so you had to like learn, like, okay, this isn't gonna, you just had to know what it would feel like. And then I know, because I get the behind the scenes look, like you have made massive strides.
Oh my gosh. So that to me, so that's my lesson, is that it started with these very baby steps. So it's like, they were hard and they hurt, but it didn't hurt anybody but me. And sometimes I can suck that up and it can be okay. But this fall took my family to New York City, which was like on a bucket list. So it was on a bucket list that, that both of them wanted to go. We got to meet up with Leslie while we were there. It was a big deal. And booked it, did a Broadway show. And we were there for about 3.5 days, and they got to do everything. They got to eat whatever they wanted. We got to go do everything. And it was an amazing experience. I mean, they just things that I wouldn't even have thought about to do. My daughter was like, we have to do this. I'm like, okay, let's go do this. And we went through, and it was, and not yes to everything. I mean, it wasn't stupid. It was just like, they got to experience everything they wanted to do. We rode electric bikes all the way through Central Park, like just fun things that I'm like, oh, how much is that? Normally that would be my reaction, is like, oh, that's a lot of money for like 20 minutes. But said what I did not, I went in knowing we were going to have a great experience, and left there, and they had the time of their lives. And I still don't know how much money I spent. Not like that. I'm telling you right now, like it was crazy, but it also was that lesson of like, it's okay. You've worked hard. You've done things. I kind of have to like hype myself up. Like, you kind of deserve it, Jennifer. It's okay.
Yeah. No, I love it. Amazing. But it took those small steps.
A lot of little steps.
Yeah. So Justin, what's up, Justin? He also signed up for the time in. Anyways, he says one of the lessons that he learned, it's not always what you say, but how you say it.
That part.
Yeah.
Yes, I have daughters. And like, I can come in and I can say something that I, in my mind, am trying to make a point. And the face is like, why do you have to say it like that? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I just need you to take the dang trash out. Mom, like, I know what I'm supposed to do. Like, why do you have to talk? So I hate to say it, like, that's where my brain went. I'm like, I know. Like,
Yep. It's an important one. I've heard it so many times. It's your tone, like, whatever.
Yes.
Mr. James Gable says, this last year, I have learned to trust those around me as well as myself. This made me realize I don't need to do everything alone. I need the tribe. I need the old dogs, and together we do more. Is that a big one, Jen?
Yes.
You know anything about that?
Yes. Okay, first of all, I'm good. Jesse, how about you answer the question?
Oh, okay. Well, first, I want to share Kirby's comment. She says, what would you do if you couldn't fail? That question has been in my head for 2 years as well. Jesse, I'm not sure I've heard what your answer was the first time you asked yourself that. Ooh. So again, I need some backup, y'all. I'm getting bullied over here.
Get him, Kirby, get him.
So 2 lessons. I'm going to start by answering Kirby's question, because it's kind of a new thing that I'm trying not just to understand, but like, how do I operationalize that? How do I not only get the experience to say this is how it works, but help other people do it, right? Help other people get value from the thing. And so one of them, it's the answer to that question. And Tats is the guilty party for this. because that question of what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you try if you knew you couldn't fail? That was one of our monthly challenges for the emotional bungee jumpers. And the challenge was go ask 3 people that question just to have like a meaningful dialogue. Mm-hmm. Well, Tats decided to answer it himself, and then he took action on it. And I said, oh my God, that's an amazing idea. And so anyways, my answer to the question is, what would I try if I knew I couldn't fail? Is I would establish a situation where I could equip single mothers with the skills to make money doing the things they love and offer affordable housing. I don't know what, like, there's so much there that I have no freaking idea about, but that has been in my heart for as long as I can remember, middle school, high school. And that comes from seeing my mom struggle and all the sacrifices she had to make. So I said it out loud. So there, Kirby, I answered the question. So, but the lesson is this: by saying, like, sharing that with people, what has happened is the path to get there, or maybe steps to make that happen, started coming, and it's been in my mind for, I'm telling you, like 20, 30 years. Like, man, I wish I could do something for single moms. But after I started saying it out loud and people would reach out and say, hey man, like, are you serious about that? I know a guy that does multifamily stuff. I know somebody that does such and such. And what about, like, what are you, like, okay, when you say this, skills to make money doing what they love, what the hell does that mean? What are those? Like, oh, well, it's these things. Like, oh, okay, well, then I'm asking, like, well, shit, why am I waiting? Like, I can do some of those things now. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the big lessons is like, putting that big, scary, wild thing out into the world, like keeping it, rather, I'll say it this way, keeping in my head stunts its growth. Mm-hmm. Putting it out there makes it grow faster than I expected. And I think, like, that's the big thing. Now, actually making something that big happen is going to take some time, but I think it's something that I can help other people with going into the future. The second lesson so there, Kirby, I need some love, y'all, on that one, because, you know, they're picking on me. The second lesson I learned is in 2023, I decided to make a huge strategic shift in my business. I had no data or evidence that proved that it would be a fruitful thing, right? Like, it was a big risk. And as a result of doing that, you know, I worked with Alt CMO. They helped me with my marketing, my website, like all kinds of branding. Like, I've done a lot of things in that area and got just like, okay, these are the things I'm not going to do anymore. These are the things that I'm going to do. I don't know if they're going to work, but this is what the hell I'm going to do. And it's working out. Right. So it's like, what I decided to do was I'm going to spend as much of my time as I possibly can doing the things that I get the most fulfillment out of, because I see it have big impact on people right away. Mm-hmm. And by making that decision, it's just kind of working out. And so those are the lessons. How'd I do? Did I get some thumbs up out there? Come on, people, give me some love.
And you got already some other people having some conversations over there, but I mean, and I've been a part of it as you have kind of, and you're a data geek, like you study everything, Jesse, like everything. So I mean, just watching kind of what's worked, what's brought you money, what's paid your bills, and then also knowing what you're passionate about and where you see the gap that other people may not see yet. And you're just like, and that's where I want to double down, but it's still scary because, like, people don't know it yet.
Yeah. Look, I got some love. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, my friend.
Good morning, Josh Wallace.
What's up, brother?
I got to hang out with him this week.
I know. I heard I even saw a post. The other Josh, I don't know if he reposted somebody's thing, or there was a post like,
yeah, from the event. Yes.
Oh man, look, here we go. We got Miss Emily Harris.
Good morning. Blue heart.
She says, that's amazing. Thank you both for sharing your experience and wisdom. Thank you, girl. Well, what about you, Emily? Come on, girl. Like, what's the lesson you learned? Justin brought up another one. He said, another thing that hit me this year is it's not always about being right, but getting to what is right.
Wow.
And then Jared says, my lesson, if you don't speak up or address it, it won't change or move forward. Both practicing and teaching that. What do you think about that, Jen?
Well, that I believe, because there's so much, like, if you don't bring it up and you don't address it, so you know something's wrong or you don't agree with something, and then you have a platform to say something and you don't, I'm going to say the way I feel, this is not everybody, then you don't have a right to bring it up later and complain about it. Like, it's on you. You can get mad that something's not right, but if you have an opportunity, or even you have an opportunity to create the environment to be able to have the dialogue or to share, and you don't, because in your mind, oh, it's not going to matter. It will never matter if it never leaves your head. And so if you have something to say, like, you've got to voice it. If it gets squashed, okay, but you've at least taken steps to be able to let people know, here's where I'm at, and here's what I'm struggling with, and here's what I'm not okay with. And so not just sitting there with it and being mad and angry and frustrated. Like, there's a point where it's not on them anymore.
Yep. Like, you can blame all you want, but if you ain't doing nothing about it,
yes,
I don't really care.
Right.
Oh, I shared this one with you, so I don't know if this will help you, Jared. But it maybe, hopefully it will. Another observation. This is kind of an ongoing observation, but it became super clear to me this year, is some people want to solve problems. Some people want attention about their problems.
Oh, yes.
And like this,
solutions. Right.
Like they're not interested in making a change. They just want attention about their problem. They're not going to do anything about it. They're not. And once I kind of picked that out, like, gotta go. I have other things to do. You want attention? Like, freaking go have a live stream about your problems. You get a lot of attention.
Yes. They kind of they like to wallow in it and get like, and look at me and look at all this stuff, but they're making no efforts to like stand up.
Exactly. And I don't have time for that. Like, I really, really don't. And so Brian Melcher says, again, thank you, Brian, for saving me over here, because I've been getting beat up by Kirby and Jen. He says, that's cool. The courage to say what you like to accomplish while you have absolutely no idea how to get it done.
That's Jesse 101. What are you talking about?
Like, figure it out, man. Like, come on. So, like, I mean, for real, this is what I think sometimes is like, this thing about instruments, right? Musical instruments, the cello, the guitar, those things developed over time. Mm-hmm. So that first fool that put strings on a piece of wood didn't know he was contributing, or she was contributing to the cello. They just did something. And then they didn't need a degree in music theory. Like, they didn't need all that bullshit. They just did something. And so, like,
just do it and see what happens.
Like, come on, man. All right. So we got some more lessons. Yes. I want to hit the next question. Okay. To folks here. I'm gonna hit this one. So here is the question to the Omniverse while I go over the comments. What head garbage did you work through this year? So y'all think about that, answer that, but I don't want to go over these lessons. So Sarah says, my biggest lesson in 2024 was slow down to speed up. The slowing down provides you the ability to find creative ideas when you're just going. The space and downtime provides more clarity. You know anything about that, Jen?
Well, you and I talk a lot, and I think you've even said, like, sometimes just allowing there to be space, it doesn't have to be BS that you're talking about, but like just space where you're kind of just dumping something out, which I do a lot for you. And I just like, here's all this crap in my head. One, it gets it out of my head. And two, what you're hearing me say, you're so good at this. And I hate to even give you this credit, but you are. So I have to give it to you. But you're so good at whatever I dump a whole lot of this and this and this and this. You go, well, what I heard was, and then you repeat back to me what I heard. And it's either crap. That's exactly what I said. Or it's okay, yes. And I think this piece I probably need to tell you more about, or something like that. So it's that getting the clarity, which that was my word for this year. No, next year. That's my word for next year. Clarity. That's a conversation. Yeah, we'll get there in a minute. But it's that getting it out and then getting clear on like what it is, because a lot of us that are high performers and do a lot of really big things, like we don't really take that time to reflect, or that time to really allow the space. And you and I just, that creative space. And I think that's what you call it.
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree. Like that's an important lesson that Sarah shared, right? Like slowing down. And you and I've had this conversation too. It's like, okay, everybody's optimizing and trying to get better with their time management. What are you optimizing for? Like answer that before you go into space, because if you clear space without a like specific purpose, you're just going to fill it with more bullshit, more work. And so for me, it's like I am optimizing for more thinking time. So when I clear something up and make it more efficient or whatever, I already know I'm going to backfill it with more journal time. I'm going to backfill it with exercise or whatever. I'm not going to backfill it with another stupid project most of the time.
Well, and it reminds me, Jesse, in conversations we've had before, on it's just like addiction or a vice that you're working to work through or get rid of or change. Like I'm not going to do this anymore. But if you don't have a plan for what you're going to then fill that with, it's probably going to be another one.
Yeah, like I'm just not going to do that. Okay. And what are you going to do instead? You need something to do instead. I just noticed your coffee mug, Jen.
Oh, yes. So backstory a little bit. I'm excited because Christmas is coming up. And so Jesse here gets all my jolliness during December and all my excitement for all the lights and everything else. And Jesse, this is his month of Grinch, and he loves the Grinch and everything about it. And so I was like, Jesse, look at my Christmas mug that I got today just to kick off December. And then here's Jesse going, well, let me show you my mug for the month.
That's my Christmas mug.
That's about like the perfect summary of whatever all of this is.
All right. Let's go. So Josh says we only get better when we reflect. His lesson was we only get better when we reflect on experience. Experience alone can only take you so far.
Yes. Can I challenge him, and maybe he'll give us some more in the comments?
Do it.
He's young. He's in construction. He's in the industry, and he's young. And so, Josh, I want to challenge you. What have been some experiences lately that you've had to like, you didn't like it, or it was something that you were disappointed or you were frustrated with, and maybe you overreacted, or even your tone was a little different than it needed to be, and then you had to like have some reflection and had to have a moment, and then you had to make a choice on what you were going to do after that. How did that go? So I want to see if he'll share.
Get him, Jen, get him. And look, Emily said, "Oh yeah,
yes,
tell me, I got something." Emily says, "If you do something thinking you can't fail, like starting your own business, you have to go into knowing you're going to fail forward. That's a part of the journey. Don't let failure scare you away from trying things."
I like that, because I love that she says, like, if you go in thinking you can't fail, then like it may get you started. But if you go in like expecting that like there's going to be some crap that's going to not go my way, and all that's going to do is continue to help me with whatever's next. I mean, I think that's where momentum comes from. That's where you kind of go, okay, well then this one didn't work. Now we have to go this direction.
Yeah. I think of it in terms of what is the objective I can set that's going to cause me to learn the most.
Yes.
Right. Because then it's like I'm gonna fail my ass all the way to learning those things. Oh, look, you got some backup. Justin's coming up.
Yes.
What's that? Sarah says it was previous year's lesson. Sometimes we fill our lives with doing to avoid thinking about the past traumas. I think that's an important thing, like a super true thing, because it's something I did for a long time, especially when I was in my addiction. I did everything. Most of my behaviors were so that I could escape my mind, surrounding myself with people, women, alcohol, like all the stuff, so that I didn't have to be with my thoughts, trauma, however you want to, like, however you classify it. I was avoiding that. And when I finally went there, it's been amazing. So Jen, what head garbage did you work through this year?
This year for me, my work, because I kind of have like, what's my focus this year? So this year was stabilization. I had a lot of things moving at work and outside of work and family and just internally reflecting and really trying to grow. Like, and I think growth and evolution is the biggest thing that you've helped me with. Is, I can be super comfortable where I'm at and be doing some really big things. And not realize, that I'm holding myself back from what's next. And so for me, it was, I guess the head garbage was the question of, does it matter? Ooh. So I'm going to dig into that a little bit. So for me, that question is huge, because my time and my effort and where I go and I put my energy there, it's limited, because I only have so much of it, and there's a lot of things I want to do and a lot of things that pull me in those directions. And so I had to get super clear this year. And when I was in a situation, or I was having a conversation, or I was hearing somebody say something, and in my mind, I'm like I need to engage here. I had to stop and ask myself, does it matter? And so whether it was the person or the situation or something that I had influence in, or I had control of, or I could help now, like I literally letting go of things that did not matter. To me, that was stuff that it's always been, because I can fix everything. I can do everything, Jesse. Like that's how I've lived, is like, I can help everybody, and the whole industry is going to be like, that's how I believe. But then when you really get in those situations and you are sitting in rooms, or you're having a conversation with someone and they're voicing to you things that I could go, this could be a 3-hour conversation, but are they going to change? Are they going to listen? Does it matter? And there are times where I had to sit there and I had to listen. I had to nod. And then, is there anything specific you need? No, I just wanted that. Okay. And then walked away. And in my mind, I had 10 solutions for them of what could possibly make this better. But I had to go, you know what? They didn't ask. And does it matter to my growth and my evolution and what I'm trying to do in my path? And a lot of times the answer was, no, it doesn't.
Oh, that's discipline, because you want to help.
Yes.
But is it really help, right? Like, does it make you feel good by giving them your wisdom, or is it actually helping them? I think that's a huge thing to work through.
Jesse froze, which is usual. So I know we see a lot of comments over there. I'm sure when Jesse pops back up, he will help bring those in. And so I guess I want to go and I want to dig into this a little bit more until he unfreezes, which is what he likes to do sometimes. And so head garbage, when we think about head garbage, and again, those of you that are out there, please continue to add your comments, because they will get brought up later. But when we think about head garbage, good and bad, like for me, it was getting clear and creating clarity. And so the head garbage was things that I was putting effort and energy into that were not taking me and guiding me towards my goals, towards the things that I'm passionate about. And sometimes the head garbage too is the things that you have just allowed to, kind of dictate your decisions, or dictate the things that you choose to do. And so what are some of those things that you've allowed? And it could be people, it could be your career path, it could be things that you've shown up to do, and you realize that this is something I don't want to do, or two, I'm letting someone else dictate that. I'm letting someone else control that. And so my challenge to everyone out there is to think about what are some things in your head that you're allowing to have space in there, and you're allowing them those things to really, I guess, think about it in the end of the day. What frustrated me today? What got me angry today? What are those things that I was disappointed in today? And take almost like a mental note. How many of those things were because of decisions I made, and how much of those things were because of decisions other people made? And when we sometimes do that inventory, I think we can see that we may, in our minds, think that's because of this person, and that's because of what they did and what they made me do, or what they made me feel. And it's not always that simple, because I think sometimes I believe in this, and I believe in this 100%. Like, it is how I've tried to show up, is that everyone shows up in their own world. We don't know their stories. We don't know their backgrounds. We don't know the things about them that maybe got them where they are, their experiences, their traumas, their things that they've overcome. We don't know those things. And if we can't look at every person, every human being in front of us, and really question, do we know their story? Do we know their why? Then we cannot judge them as to why they did what they did. But we can absolutely hold ourselves accountable. And so let me see, Jen. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it. Like this, you know what, with Jesse, we never really know. And he's the one that runs all of this in the background. So I see all of your comments, and we will make sure that we get them completely addressed. And so the other question that is not on here that we will let Jesse bring up when he comes back on is what did you work through this year that is really I don't know, something that you learned that is going to carry you into next year and going to really help you with what you want to focus on. So I know it kind of is marrying the two questions we've had so far. And so I so much don't like having to have all the screen time, but I'm going to try to own it for Jesse and for y'all. And so for me, and Sarah, you hit on it a little bit, but this year stabilization was really what I was trying to do, was trying to figure out, okay, let's get all these things that you're touching in a place to where you have some control over them. And then you've also allowed some things to go because they don't need to be there. And then going into next year, clarity is my word. Clarity is what I'm trying to create in 2025, to not only look at the things that I'm working on and the things that I want to do better at, but how can I create clarity in how I am engaging with other people? And so had a really good conversation I'm going to try to, I don't even know what's going on right now.
Jennifer Lacey. Is anybody else there? I just had a major,
live.
major
I tried.
meltdown over here. There you are. What's up, Jen?
I mean, I literally tried, and then it just kicked me out. Like you did, I did everything that I possibly could.
Oh man. Well, so I don't know if y'all got to hear, but there was like a massive, massive lightning thunder crack, and then everything just zapped out here at the house. And I've been trying to scramble, no Wi-Fi, like everything, and now I got power, and it looks like I got internet now. So, holy moly, that was awesome. So did we lose everybody?
Well, no. Here's Sarah. Sarah's awesome. Sarah's like, what do you do when both hosts are gone? We continue the conversation in the chat.
Oh, I love it. Of course, we continued it in the chat.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Oh, that's so awesome. Cause the tribe is awesome. Trying to get it back up.
Yeah, so I was in the middle of my
Uh-oh. All right, how we doing now?
Well, am I on the screen?
Now you are. Son of a gun.
One, we apologize, but this is how life is sometimes.
Oh my goodness. All right. Reattach.
Yes. So I was in the middle of this, like, all just inspiring, just explanation about next year, and then something happened.
I don't even remember what I was saying. I was so freaked out about what happened.
Yes. So I was talking about 2025, and I was talking about how clarity was really what I was trying to focus on next year, kind of getting clear on what my goals are and what I need to do. And you and I talked. And so the big thing for me next year is what does growth and evolution look like for me? And I've realized that there's a lot of people out there that I have relationships with and I have connections with, and they think they know all the things that I do because of the things that I share, but I'm not really good sometimes at making sure that they understand how I got there and making sure what it took to get there. They kind of get to see the shiny stuff or the things that sometimes are out there, but they don't understand the back of house stuff or the hard stuff that it took to be able to get where it is. And so I'm going to try to be a couple of things, be super intentional on reaching out to some specific people on how can I work with them and how can I help them in their growth and evolution, but also help really do a better job of when I'm sharing the things that are important to me, to also making sure that I talk about all the yucky kind of hard stuff that I had to go through to get there.
That sounds simple.
Well, I'm glad it does for you, because it doesn't for me at all. It sounds very scary for me.
It'll be awesome. It'll be so okay. So there's a couple comments, and also I need to tell everybody, when the Zap thing went down, like all the people that were in the randomizer, like it started over again at 0. So if you want to be in the randomizer, drop a comment, drop an emoji in the chat so we can put you in the thing. It just kind of wiped everything out. Else, okay, Miss Jillian Lee coming in from Facebook land.
Hello, good morning.
She's answering the question. She says, I look at my mind and heart and emotional investments in an inventory way of black and white. I like that. Relationship wise as well. Is this serving or opposing my core values? How do I feel about XYZ? Are these things something that I would invest in if it was a stock market? Would I be investing in this person or experience if it was financial loss instead of personal?
Well, I love this comment because it reminds me, it's a quote. I don't know what the quote is, but it's, would I go to this person for advice?
Yep.
And if the answer is no, why the hell do you care about what they say?
Yep.
That's what it reminds me of.
Oh, yeah. I agree. It's a hard one, though, right? Like coming up, I mean, you and I were talking about this before we went live. It's like, I remember when I was in high school, I just really needed to know what everybody was thinking about me, saying about me. I wanted to know that they were taught, like I was in their mind.
Mhm.
And so it created this thing where it's like, I need like whatever their thought or whim was, I would go in that direction.
Mhm.
Then fast forward to now, and it's like, okay, they have a judgment on me, but I've never asked, like, I don't like the life they live. Why would I adjust my behavior to like fit their model? Because clearly it produces some shit that I don't want.
Yeah.
And so to your point, right? Why would you take advice from somebody or act on a critique from somebody that you wouldn't go and seek advice from?
Yeah, it's
100%.
what is it? It's the Roosevelt quote that Brene Brown talks about. It's like, if you're in the arena and you're competing and you are working your butt off and you got people in the stands, like, why are you listening to what they have to say?
Yeah,
Like,
they're just
I mean, like,
spectators.
why does their opinion matter?
Uh-huh. Oh, for me, it's the same thing. Like, oh, you should do this and this book and this is like, have you done it? Well, no. Like, oh, okay.
Yes.
Thanks. Like,
That part.
have you freaking done it? I'm not
No.
saying have you created $1 million of monthly recurring revenue. I'm just saying, have you tried the concept? Because if you haven't tried the concept and you read it in a book or you heard it in a podcast, I'm not interested. Like, I'm sorry, but sounds good, right?
Yes.
Like, it sounds good. I'm not okay with that. Anyhow,
I did see that Josh Wallace did come back with some response. I don't know if you have it tagged or not. But I do
let me
see that he rose to the challenge a little bit.
A little bit. Oh, here it is. So, as a younger guy with lots of passion for the industry, there have been several times where I've let my ego or confidence get ahead of me. Yeah, I think that counts.
Okay.
No?
I mean, yeah. He owns that there are some times where he even oversteps. Like, again, he's in a position where he's got to help manage work. So, but I think I'm gonna say that I'm going to also double down and tell him that what I see in him is he also will go back later and like own that he was wrong.
Yeah, no, yes. And I know the backstory on this deal too. Like, first, for me, what's impressive is the stage he is in his career and at his age, like, to pause and reflect about, maybe I didn't represent myself as well as I should. Like, I didn't do that shit until like last year.
Right.
And then, so like, okay, yeah, I did a yucky thing. I'm just keep moving forward. He went back and like,
yes.
like said, hey, bro, my bad. Like, that's freaking huge.
Yeah.
I know he probably just feels like, oh, I screwed up, but because you don't like, dude, amazing. Keep doing that.
Yes.
So Seth says, for me, not having a loss be what finally pushes me to go out of my comfort zone and do those things that I should have been doing all along.
The backstory on this one. Oh, Seth.
Mm-hmm.
So Seth showed up for the first time on our No BS show maybe a month ago, and he had a really, really good relationship with Buddy, and Buddy's been trying to get him in forever, and just having some things that he's taking big steps. You know, he was just starting the podcast and all those things, and so he's seeing that sometimes it takes, getting outside of that comfort zone to be able to be in a space with people that, dang, this is where I should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we don't have to wait for the loss.
No.
Right. But a lot of times it's a good springboard to say, man, like, our time here is limited.
Mm-hmm.
And that is true for everybody. And so what the hell are you waiting for?
Yep.
So Sarah shares this. Yeah. And I like this analogy. People judge based on what they know, but they don't have the full picture of all of your challenges. The analogy I received the other day is we view things through a straw, which is an extremely small view. I love that because I'll just talk about myself. It's easy for and you probably hear me say this a lot, John. Like this is how I do it. This is what it means for me, or this is how I think about it. Because I'll make these general statements about superintendents and construction executives. But the truth is the number of superintendents in construction, granted, I've worked all over the country and all that thing, but it's still like a very, very small sample set of the greater industry. Kind of like you and I've talked about, where we get super like lean and like I'm surprised people that's like there's only for real
super small percentage,
a very small percentage of wackos of doing this thing in construction. And so like for real, Sarah, that's great advice. Like really, really think about, and in terms of this question about the head garbage, really think about your perspective. Your personal life experience is about this big compared to the whole.
Yep.
And nobody has to change for you to win.
Yep.
Period. The only person needs to do that is you. So it is 9:02. And right now, folks, please take a couple seconds, go in, and if you're still there, drop a comment in the chat so that you get in the randomizer, because it reset the whole damn thing. There's 6 people in there right now, but like it just lost everybody. And so, you know, I don't know that I got through this head garbage this year, but it's something that came to my awareness like in the last week.
Okay.
So yeah. Most of the year, we'll just say the last 3 years, I've been like, okay, task, got to get this, got to do these things to like advance the business and do all the stuff. This month, all of the things that are like on my list, if they don't happen, it has zero effect on anybody or anything. Okay. Now, I feel within me like they're going to be massive in terms of my personal growth, the way that I can contribute, and etc. The growth of my business, they'll be gigantic. But if I don't do them, it's not going to hurt anything, right? I'm not going to lose anything
because they're yours.
Because they're my. Oh, look, we got somebody, Mr. Fred. We got Francis. She's back again.
Yes,
Francis. Yes. All right. There we go. Come on. Let's get into the randomizer here. And so I was thinking, I'm like, why am I dragging my behind on these things? Like, there's no reason. Like, and it's not like I'm super, super damn busy. Like, I'm just dragging my feet on the thing. So I asked myself the question, why am I dragging my feet? I'm like, why could I be dragging my feet? And then I'm like, oh, shit. And here's where I kind of landed is because when I press those buttons and pull those levers, it's going like the potential of change is going to be gigantic. And what that means is the conditions. Because I know this, I've experienced it multiple times. The conditions, the people, the relationships that I have right now will not be the same. Right?
Yes.
Oh shit! There it is. Like it's not as pronounced as imposter syndrome and all that other garbage, but it's like, oh man, like this is why I'm dragging my feet, because. Or one of the reasons, because if I don't do the things, everything's gonna stay good. And I know if I do them, they're all gonna change. And I haven't even gone down as far as like who is gonna be left behind and who's gonna be like none of that, except that I know that will change. And so it's this thing like, okay, like, ooh. So that's the head garbage I got.
That's big. And I know you and I have talked about it, and times where you've challenged me is just we get in that comfort place. And again, not that we're not doing big things, like we're in a place, but it's something that we're good at. We're doing things we're good at. We're doing things we've proven that we're good at. and then we're kind of rocking and rolling, that doesn't create growth and evolution.
Right.
And so
Right.
what is that thing? And I think that's where you are right now, is like, yes, and if I
Yeah.
want to grow and I want to evolve into what's next, these are some really big steps, and they're not comfortable, and they're
No.
not something that is they're going to challenge me. And they're also there's going to be, probably some struggles just internally because of the people in my life. Oh, that's big.
Yeah. Like, no more easy buckets, Jesse. So I'm gonna give a little more time to get more people in the randomizer. Question to the tribe, to the folks out there in the Omniverse. Drop it in quick. How did you surprise yourself this year? Was something that you did that you said, oh God, like, man, I did that. I can't believe I did. I can't believe it worked. I'll start.
Okay, do it.
My word for this year, and this is a segue into our next conversation. My word for this year, or idea, objective, direction, focus, was stabilization. And the way I surprised myself is I haven't launched anything this year, tried, experimented, researched, that wasn't already on the board. And it sucked. I didn't like
it. Deal for you.
But I didn't. Like, I just, no, that's not on the board. That's not on the board. These are the things. I didn't even add things to the board. It's like, these are the things on the board. This is what I'm going to do. And so that was my big surprise. What about you, Jen?
Well, I had a couple. They're kind of tied together, but this year, so I'm really good one at shining lights on people and helping elevate and really help people see some of those people behind the scenes, are people that don't usually get recognized. So I really am intentional about that. And then I also like to do things with people, because then I can be in their space, but it's not all the light's not on me. And that's just that's my happy place. And so this year, there were a couple of things that I got asked to do that my normal response would have been, yes, and let me get these other people there too, so that we can do it together. And I just said yes, and it was just me. It was just me. So that wasn't a normal thing for me, but it was one of those where it was part of the, okay, but they asked me, and so I've got to own this, and then I've got to, be able to deliver. And it was scary, because as much as I'm confident in the things that I say and I do like to, be able to lean on other people to do it. And I've kind of had to step into some of that light this year that it wasn't planned, but I also know it's helping people. So.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. All right. We got 2 more comments, and then we're doing randomizer. So Maria says this year has been reiterated lessons. And I love that, because that's going to happen. Obviously, because I still needed them, but in a different way. Focusing on let them, if you build it, they will come. And not everyone who smiles in your face is for you, son of a gun. Right?
Dropping bombs.
And then my buddy Larry Carroll says, after 10 years of working as an operations manager, I made the decision to go back to senior superintendent and running projects in the field. And adding that, I did this moving to a new company. So like, he made that move this year. Freaking, and Larry, I hope that you are taking better care of yourself. And that was kind of the reason behind the move. Congratulations, my man. And thank you for sharing. That's a big deal. Okay. Randomizer time. Let's see. I'm going to share screen.
Jesse, what is the randomizer for again? Just to remind everybody.
The randomizer is if you made a comment and some of y'all didn't get back, like we had the technical difficulties. Anyways, when you make a comment in the chat as we're having the conversation, and put your name in the raffle, in the randomizer. If your name, whoever gets selected, is going to be invited to be a part of Emotional Bungee Jumpers and the Cultivation Crew in this month of December. So you'll get a free sample deep dive into those experiences.
Okay, so before you do that real quick, okay, I know you're doing it, but Marty says great show. So Marty, I know he commented before. Thank you, Marty, for jumping on today and listening. He's one of our superintendents, and also for coming in at the very last second and putting your comment in there so that you got into the randomizer.
Well, Marty's also gonna be in the do the damn thing.
Look, Jesse, look what you're doing. You got all kinds of people in there. That is awesome.
I'm actually flattered that so many people even are interested in being a part of it. But so I gotta be on my P's and Q's and make it awesome. All right, we got 10 people in the randomizer,
okay.
And we're well, so Kirby, you're already one of the founding members of those experiences. So what that means is you can gift your spot to somebody in your personal space, in your workspace, whatever. So congratulations, Kirby. All right, Jen. I guess closing thoughts. So can you carry this for a minute while I go and do the resharing of the link and all that?
Yes, as long as you don't go away, that would help.
That was so awesome.
Well, it's just like it's like the things we deal with all the time. So we appreciate all of you that stayed on, and Sarah, thank you for keeping the conversation going while we were out there and somewhere floating around trying to come back to everyone. Closing thoughts for me today is, again, this conversation came from, kind of what have we, it's always easy at the end of the year to be like, oh, here's the things that I've accomplished this year. And it's like, here's the big things. And I guess I want to challenge you, and it kind of goes back to some of my lessons learned, or the big things that I learned this year, that they weren't big. And so my big, I guess my final thoughts are that those small things usually will start something that then grows, and it kind of it turns into something bigger. And usually when you start, you don't know what that end's going to look like. But that little moment of starting and I'm going to do this one thing, or I'm going to make this one decision, or I'm going to have this one conversation, usually will start something else. And so I guess my challenge to you is like, don't wait until it's like, yeah, I'm just waiting to do for this one big thing that I'm trying to do. Like, okay, stop for a moment and go, what are the things that lead into that? What are the things that will get me there? And then just do the first thing. And then reevaluate. And what does that look like? And is it working? And is it going in the right direction? Okay, what's the next thing? And not look at things in such the whole forest, whenever you know that it takes a lot of little things to make it up. And so that's just my challenge, is just really stop and, what is it? Is it a phone call? Is it a conversation? Is it just kind of taking 15 minutes and reflecting and really understanding, okay, here's the things I need to do today. And then, and I think Jesse's going to help us a little bit with that in some of his training that he's going to give us, and how do we look at our schedules? How do we look at our capacity? How do we look at the things that we're trying to accomplish? So that I'm super excited about. But it's just those little things, like don't downgrade them. Don't make them be less important, because what I found is they are more important, because I couldn't have done the big thing unless I did all the little things.
Oh, okay. Speaking of doing little, I just finished sharing the link. And so the after party it's a different, so it's going to be on Teams. You don't have to like turn your camera on. We'll see how my internet holds up. Because LinkedIn doesn't have the audio room anymore. So we're going to run an experiment, see how it goes. I'll second what you said, Jen. Like it really is the small, like, what's the smallest step I can take in that direction? Mm-hmm. Because, or I could sit here in my rocking chair and listing out all the million things that I think need to happen and all the mitigation plans and I didn't accomplish nothing. Mm-hmm. And so now I also want to draw attention to two comments. that probably, I think we kind of stirred the pot a little bit about reflection. Thank you for hanging in there, y'all, because we lost, internet and all that. But James early on said he's not a resolution guy either. The last 2 years, he picked a focus word. This last year was growth and influence. And Amy was like, man, my mission for 2025 is continue to be kindness forward and have a generous heart while also maintaining healthy boundaries. And so we did some reflection. And I guess we're probably going to be talking about forward thinking on our next live stream.
Yes.
Yeah?
That is correct. Yes. So today was a lot of reflection, maybe a little bit of thought in 2025. But I think our goal for the next one, kind of rounding out the year, is getting a little more clear and a little more intentional and putting some things out there that could be a little bit scary, because then now they're out there and people can hold you accountable. But what is that? What does 2025 look like for you? And what are some of those little steps? And then maybe some of those bigger things that you're looking to accomplish, because once you share them with us, then it's now out there. And now you got some accountability partners.
Yeah, 100%. And like Maria said, the goal is to the closing thought is to mess around is human, to find out is divine. Oh, that's so good. All right. Y'all got the link is in the thing. After party teams. We'll see how it goes, folks. And we'll talk again soon.
Thank y'all so much for your patience.